Hi students, let's continue with the constructor. So in the previous video I explained about the concept about the constructor. We work out some examples. So now we are working on this constructor and this without arguments and with arguments also. So let's continue with an examples here. So let's take the class sample. So here I am taking class sample and I am calling the default constructor sample. Okay, so I just call the default constructor. Suppose a public static void main. Okay, so here I'm calling as new sample. Okay, so what happening here? So this is, it implicitly comes, no need to write. Even though it is a valid only, you are no need to write, because whenever new sample is there, automatically the constructor is going to be write. Suppose if you write new sample with some arguments, suppose new sample with some arguments you have write, then what it is showing? It is an error. Why it is an error? It is an error not compiled. Why? Because it is a constructor with value, arguments, parameterized constructor, and this is a default constructor. These two are not matching. These two are not matching. Then it will show error. Suppose here if you write like sample, and here suppose if you write int x, sample, within that if you write int x, then it is valid. These two are valid. Suppose if here if you write like sample int x, okay, then in the main you are going to write new sample of 10, then that is valid. Okay, so note this point. Student. If class does not contain, any other constructor, then the Java compiler, this I already explained, again I am repeating, then Java compiler implicitly provides default constructor. Okay, so don't worry about it. If class does not contain any other constructor, then Java compiler implicitly providing the default constructor. Okay, so now let's see that initialization block. So I said that a constructor can have the can be assigned to initialization blocks also. Let's see the example. Class employee. So let me take int employee number as some 101, and I'm taking another variable float salary is equal to some 2000 point, because this is a float value. Okay, so these are the initializations, right? So now I'm taking another class sample. This is my main class because I'm writing a main here. So this is my main class, public static void main string arguments. Okay, so now I'm calling, so object is created, employee E1 is equal to new employee. Okay, now another object is created, employee E2 is equal to new employee. So two objects are created to access these instance variables, allocate memory to these instance variables. Okay, now system dot out dot println. So what I have to be do? So I want to access these variables. How I am going to access? E1 is an object reference, that is the employee number. Okay, so backslash E1 dot salary. Okay, so it's getting E1 dot employee number and a tab space I'm just giving a tab space, so that otherwise it will come like closely. So E1 dot employee number, E1 dot salary. In the same way, E2 dot employee number, I'm creating a tab space, and E2 dot salary. So this way of initialization is suitable for one object only. Okay, this way of initialization, whatever the initialization it is there, suitable for the one object only. If the application requires more than one object, suppose if the application requires more than one object, then use constructor to initialize instance variable. That is what I am saying. That is what we are explaining here. Okay, if you want to create, so here E1 dot employee 1 is 101 is created and the same value, and E2 dot employee 1 is also the same value 101, and so the object is going to be accessed only the same value. The same value it is going to be accessed. So this is only suitable for the one object only. So if the application requires more than one object, suppose in my company there are so many employees out there. Okay, each employee is having a different salary. Then this is not suitable. So then you use the constructor to initialize the instance variable. You have to use the constructors to work on the initialize variable. I'll explain. So how to use that, right? So if application requires more than one object, so many employees I need to be gathered information, then use the constructor. How? See here. Class employee. So here I am just declaring, I am not initializing. Int instance variables I am using. Int employee number and the float salary. That's it. Instance variables. Now constructor, I am calling the constructor with arguments. Employee is my constructor. Constructor name and the class name both are the same. Constructor with arguments. Parameterized constructor. Employee number, comma, float salary. Okay, here I am using this keyword. This dot employee number is equal to employee number. Current object. This dot salary. Whatever the current object, that is going to be accessed. Okay. So now create another class. So this is the main class. Class sample. Public. Static, void, main, string, arguments. Okay, so here create an object to access this. Employee E1 is equal to new employee. So I want to access a parameterized constructor, right? Parameterized values. So parameterized constructor. So mention the values. 101 comma 2500, suppose 00F, it's a salary. So another object is going to be created with E2 reference new employee parameterized constructor I am calling. So this time 102, some 3000. Okay. So now try to print this. How you are going to print this? How you are going to print this? System dot out dot print ln. So now E1 dot employee number tab space, give the tab space, E1 dot salary. Okay, in the same way, next object, system dot out dot print ln E2 dot employee number tab space, give a tab space so that it will appear neatly. Okay, so here what is the output you are getting? You are getting the output like 101, 2500 and 102, 3000. Whereas in the previous without constructors, the same value it is printing. And here whatever the values that you are mentioning, the parameterized constructor, those values are going to be printed. This is what your output is getting. Okay, so what it is doing, I'll explain here. So class is created, open brace executed, compiler will comes to the main thing. Sorry, not first the class sample, open brace public static void. So first employee object is created with E1 reference. With E1 reference. So what the employee object contains? The employee object contains the information like 101, employee number, and 2500. It's a salary. It's salary. Okay. So next E2 is going to be created. With E2 reference, another employee object is created. So here the values are 102, 3000. Okay. So now the compiler will comes to the constructor. So this dot employee. So this dot, first it is going to be take E1 reference. E1 reference. So what is the E1 reference? So E1 reference is consisting of 101 and 2500. So that value, employee number is assigned to 101 and the salary will be assigned to 2500. Okay, so its salary will be assigned to the 2500. So now it comes to here and the value is printed. And the next, again those values will be overwritten. This will be overwritten, and next in the same block 102 is going to be copied and the salary is 3000 is copied, and that values are printed here, and that also be erased. After printing, it will be deallocates. So this is how it's happening here by using this keyboard. So if you want to print more than one, if you want to call more than one object, then better to use the application requires when more than one object, then use a constructor to initialize this. So this is about the constructors. Thank you.